As an institution, Laurel Ridge Community College has two libraries, the Paul Walk Library in Middletown and the Bob G. Souter Library in Fauquier. Many newcomers may wonder what services are available to them through the library, and with a combined collection of over 60,000 physical items, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Let's start by going over the physical materials we have to offer. Because we are a college, our main collection is largely academic. However, we do offer a wide variety of other materials such as bestsellers, graphic novels, popular fiction, audiobooks, a periodical collection of newspapers and magazines, CDs, and DVDs of popular movies and television. How much does this all cost? It's free, of course. Simply bring your Laurel Ridge issued ID or driver's license to the circulation desk, along with any materials you wish to check out. No need to sign up for a library card. All active faculty, staff, and students are automatically entered into our system. Speaking of our collection, it's organized using the Library of Congress classification system, which is a little different than Dewey Decimal. While it may seem complicated at first, this allows us to integrate nonfiction works as well as historically significant fiction into one collection. You may be inclined to try to find an item just by browsing, but that can get confusing. It's actually much easier to use our catalog, which can be accessed from any computer or phone with an internet connection. Simply type laurelridge.edu/library into your browser, then input your title or subject heading into the main search box. Once you find the item you're looking for, write down or take a picture of the call number to find the item on the shelf. If you get stuck, our helpful staff would be glad to assist you during any stage of the process. But what else does the library have to offer? It's certainly not just books. For students, we offer group study rooms in Middletown and individual study spaces at Fauquier. If you need research assistance, there's also a plethora of online resources. This often involves navigating our databases, which can be found by clicking Article Databases off the main landing page of our website. You can choose the subject that works best for you, or browse all our databases alphabetically. While on campus, you'll automatically be signed in. However, if you're at home, you'll need to log in using your My Laurel Ridge credentials. Still having trouble? Reach out to a library staff member either in person or through our online chat service. You can even make a research appointment with a resident librarian. There's one of them now. It's David Gray, the Director of Library Services. Say hi, David. If you're a faculty member, you might elect to have one of our librarians visit your classroom for more in-depth research instruction. In fact, there's a wide range of resources available just for you. To view the full list, use the Services tab at the top of our homepage, then click Faculty. A final collection that faculty and students should know about are the course reserves. These include books and other course materials such as calculators that students may need throughout the semester. Most items are in library use only. However, some can be checked out for longer periods of time. We try to provide up-to-date course textbooks for student use and generally cover most of the core classes needed for general studies. The reserve section also includes student laptops and hotspots, which are loaned on a first-come, first-served basis with a referral from a student's advisor. If none are available, the library always offers unlimited computer use during its regular operating hours. For more information about the library, give us a call or send us an email using the address on the screen. Reach out anytime and let us know how we can help. Hope to see you soon.